Hi everyone, welcome back to episode 11 of All In. We're excited to be back for another interview today. So today we'll be interviewing Jesse Whitsit, who graduated in 2018 and is currently working as a wealth advisor associate for Morgan Stanley. So we will get him connected in just a second here. Same as with all of our All-Ins. Feel free to put your questions into the comments or to use the question feature, and we'll try to get through as many of those as we can. If you're just joining us, we'll be talking today with Jesse Whitsit, who graduated in 2018, and we'll get him connected in just a minute here. So again, any questions can go into the comments or can go through the questions feature. Either is fine. If you're just joining us for your first ever All-In, we interview alumni during the lunch hour. It's a chance for you to learn about their career, learn about what they did in their time at Binghamton and all of that. So feel free to ask any questions and we'll get connected with Jesse in just a second here. Looks like he's loading in right now. Hi, Jesse.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you for asking.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us today. We're excited to have you on here and to learn a little bit more about what you've been doing since graduating.
Yeah, I'm glad to share my story.
Awesome. So why don't you start by telling our viewers a little bit about yourself and what you currently do?
Yeah, so a little bit about me is I grew up on Long Island here in New York, and I went to a community college for a little bit. Right out of high school, I went to University of Hawaii, studied kinesiology there, physical therapy. After a year of studying, I didn't really feel that I was too keen on it. I wasn't very good at it. And when I got my first internship through my uncle, I really didn't like the atmosphere and what I would be doing for the entire life. So then I went to community college, found that I liked business, but wasn't too sure which type of business. And from there, I went to Binghamton University because one of my good friends, Danny Graziosi, went there. He liked it a lot. So then once I went there, I found my calling. I liked economics a lot. I liked the data of it. I liked being able to analyze different scenarios. And from there, I got an internship with Morgan Stanley as a summer analyst. Got the full-time offer out of it, and originally I declined it, but then I got another return offer after that. I was lucky enough to get it, and now I'm a wealth advisor associate here at Morgan Stanley. Started July of last year, so my work anniversary was very recently.
Congrats.
And yeah, thank you. And now within my daily operations, I do risk analysis for clients, where I analyze their portfolios for the financial advisors, make sure that they're in line with their risk tolerance, to make sure that they're not taking on too much risk to achieve their goals. And we envelop that with our financial planning tools here at Morgan Stanley. So that way we can make sure that whatever lifestyle that person wants to live, because of course everyone is different with whatever lifestyle they want to live, whether they're a high spender or they're a relatively wealthy client, but they don't spend a lot of money. We just want to make sure that whatever risk they are willing to take, that it's as small as possible to get the greatest return, because that's the ideal goal of every portfolio. And we do that in order to say, if you do want to live X, Y, and Z lifestyle, usually once we create those financial plans, we present it to the client and saying, here are all of your goals. Retirement's usually the biggest one, college planning for kids, grandkids, reassuring any concerns they may have about life insurance, seeing if they have any, can we get them some if they can afford it, and then also estate planning, because of course as a wealthy client, we want to make sure that we can help alleviate taxes as much as possible. So that way they can be able to keep their wealth and be able to do whatever they want with it for their kids, grandkids, and being able to have their legacy live past their current life. Because again, people have to die eventually, but what would their legacy actually stand for? And then we also look to charitable donations, how they want to set it up. And that's usually my daily operations enveloped in about my 3-minute speech.
That's great. Thanks so much for sharing kind of about that day to day. I think it'll be some good insight for students who are, thinking about wealth management as a potential career option. So I know you mentioned a little bit about coming to Binghamton and that, but can you expand on your Binghamton experience a little bit and some of the things that you gained prior to graduating?
Yeah, so when I went to Binghamton University, I went in spring of 17, I believe. And I didn't know the campus well at all. I had friends there because a lot of people from Long Island do go to Binghamton, of course. And my friend Danny Graziosi brought me to many different clubs, many different organizations, and I went to things like Finance Society, Management Consulting Group, DECA, and I just got to know people around the campus, what they were doing in their day-to-day lives, what they thought was great, what they thought was didn't, what didn't work for them. And after the first 2 weeks, I kind of found my little niche, and then I started to expand my horizons, getting to know the professors. I became a teaching assistant for one of the economics courses because I very much like to teach. I very much like to help people out, and especially when it comes to students. There's one quote that my executive director always likes to say is, if you can't explain something simply, you don't know it well enough at all. And it's from Albert Einstein, because if you're able to teach, especially incoming freshmen, juniors, etc., where they don't know a topic at all because they just begin the class, if you're able to break it down as simple as possible to where you do see the light bulb click in their head, that's what really makes it different. And that's what makes it great, because then you know that you know it well enough. Because again, if they ask you a question and you don't know the answer to it, then you need to do your research and be able to expand upon it. Because in my day-to-day job, I even do that with clients, because of course there's doctors, lawyers that don't understand finance, and I have to be able to break it down for them. So if anyone's questioning about being a teaching assistant, highly recommend it, because it's one of the most rewarding skill sets you can have, not only for your time in college, just to really get to know the students and get to know how well you are well versed in that topic, but also it's a lifestyle goal, because no matter what role you go into, a lot of them, especially within wealth management, you have to be able to teach not only financial advisors, your coworkers, but also the clients themselves, because they want to learn, or they want to understand it a little bit more. Because with the regulatory aspect in this day and age, you can't just do whatever you want with their money. They have to be able to understand why you're doing it for them. Because again, it's their money. They need to understand some degree of it, because they're not going to understand everything, but you have to understand a certain degree.
That's great. I think that's great advice, and especially great to think about how sometimes unrelated experiences in college can be very beneficial for the skill sets that you'll use when you're out in the working world.
Yeah, I just did it because one of my teachers recommended it. I liked it a lot, and I now recommend every one of my friends to do it, because it's not only a good resume booster, but it also teaches you a lot of your skill set and makes you practice, because you never can get enough of public speaking skills. You can never forget the little basics, because even if it's a level 100 course or 300 or 400, it helps tremendously, because you will use this. And I promise you, no matter what class it is, it all envelops some way into what your job function is, especially within wealth management. I took a lot of history classes because I love history. And to this day and age, when I do research on different managers and different investments, I am able to understand why they are investing in this way. Why are they focusing on the future? Because of the past as well with that specific country. And it also helps because if you tell clients that, they know that they're very comfortable, because you're done your research when you just paid attention in college.
That's great. Is there another skill set that you would say you use day in and day out at your current position?
Soft skills or technical skills?
Let's go with technical skills.
The main skill set I would say is, going back to the question, is having the technical skills of Microsoft Office, whether it be PowerPoint, Excel, or even Word, is tremendous. I use those three programs every single day in my job. And I often teach not only my coworkers who have MBAs and bachelors of science in different colleges, even if they're well-known colleges, because Binghamton, you understand the skills a lot more. And especially with Binghamton University, for those who don't know, we have the SUNY Attain Labs, and you do get free certifications. So rather than saying, yes, I have this skill set, you can also be able to show that you have the certification, knowing that you have that skill set. And I promise you, the more you well versed in especially Excel, the better you look for everyone. Because I use Excel every single day, and my executive director and my bosses reach out to me to create spreadsheets, because they just want it done fast and efficient. And I'm more than fine to do it, because it takes me 5 minutes to do it when it could take them 30, 45 minutes.
That's great. I think that's some great advice. And I know students often hear a lot about Excel, but hearing it from someone who's in it day to day and is really using that skill set, I think is powerful. So let's go with one last question then. What are your career goals and where do you see yourself going after your current role?
I see myself working in the finance industry. I would love to be a financial advisor and join a team because as a young person, many times we are skilled in the technology. We just don't have that well-known experience as it does with the older advisors. So for me, I would love to be an advisor because I love to help people any way I can, especially when it comes to finances. I do understand it to a great degree. I've done all of the work so far and I'm very good at it. And I also am able to work with clients no matter what type of person because I wanted to be a consultant way back when, but this job title as a financial advisor, you are a consultant because you're going with your expertise, helping someone out, whether it be mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, or even individuals when they're in their 20s or 30s, you can be able to help them invest in any way they would like to. And that's something I see myself doing for the near future, 5 to 10 years. Afterwards, I'm not too sure, but that's my 5 to 10 year goal for right now.
Awesome. Well, Jesse, we always end our all-ins with a food-related question because it is the lunch hour. So do you have a favorite pasta dish? And if so, what is it?
Yes, my favorite one is penne alla vodka. Have to have grilled chicken in it with a little bit of bolognese sauce, just a little bit of the meat. By far my favorite dish, and it is something I always go to whenever I'm at an Italian restaurant and I'm not too sure what I want. But that's usually whenever I'm not too sure if I'm not too keen on pizza or a chicken dish. I always go with that because it's healthy to a degree, but it always hits me on the sweet spot.
Awesome. Well, Jesse, thanks so much for joining us today for All In. It was great to chat with you, and I'm sure students are going to love hearing your story.
Yes, thank you very much.
Awesome. Have a good one.
You too. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.